Here we go again. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with Problem Child 2. This is a donation reward for Venom. So if you remember, back in June, we recorded the reaction to the first Problem Child movie, and it was shit. Like, Gilbert Gottfried, sorry, great as he is, couldn't save it. It was a very, very bad movie. It was not funny. The message they were trying to go with about, like, this kid just need, a positive father figure, role model in his life, to actually someone to actually care about him, it was undercut so many times. It was just destroyed by its own writing. It was just not good. So why am I reacting to the second one? Well, like I said, it's a donation reward. I was literally paid to react to this. Which is probably the only reason I would ever check it out. Now, to be fair, I have no idea if this is connected to the first, because there are some cases where, a movie will have like a sequel, but it's technically not one. Like, it has no connection other than like the basic concept. For example, Home Alone 3. And pretty much every Home Alone from 3 onwards is a completely different story with completely different characters. I think it was 4 or 5 that tried to bring it back to Kevin McAllister from the first 2. But it's like, outside of the name of Kevin and the burglar, one of the burglars as well, they weren't the same character. It wasn't the case. They tried to claim they were the same characters, but nothing about them other than the names were the same. The actors weren't the same, the personalities weren't the same, nothing about them was the same. So it's like, basically, we had the first 2 with Macaulay Culkin, those were the same characters. Then Home Alone 3 and on just started doing its own thing, and the only thing that was the same was, kid is home alone, thwarts robbers or whatnot, uses all these traps and contraptions and stuff to do so. It's like the concept is there, but it's not technically a sequel. This could be doing that. Because I've seen I've seen movie series do that before. Or it could be a direct sequel. I don't know. I genuinely don't. But I'm kind of hoping that it's something different. And that's why I brought this up, because I'm hoping it's like, the second in the series by name only. I'm hoping it's one of those movies that's just like, we're doing our own thing. We have our own new characters and stuff, but it's the same concept. Maybe some of the same people worked on it, so that's why we're calling it Problem Child 2 instead of something else. I'm hoping it's that, because it would give a chance for it to be a lot better. If it's a direct sequel, I feel like there's a higher chance that it's going to be just as bad as the first. Now, if it is its own separate thing, then I'm really hoping that it does things better this time. In terms of any kind of message it tries to sell, in terms of the acting, in terms of the humor, because humor was almost non-existent in the first movie. I want it to be actually good. It doesn't have to be great. I don't expect it to be like top tier comedy. But I want it to be at least somewhat good. At least passable, That's my big wish for this. If it's at least passable, I'll be okay with it. I don't want it to be like terrible like the first one was. The reason why I'm choosing to get to this today, though, specifically, is because, as you may notice through sniffling and stuff, I'm still a bit sick. My cold has not quite gone away yet. And it's mostly at this point scratchiness in the throat and sinus issues, though that's mostly what it's been the entire time. Um, and I felt like I wanted a movie to end on my recording, my reaction recording for the week. I wanted something lighter, and I presume this would be lighter. A lighter comedy that's not going to like be a lot for me to handle. You know? So let's get into this. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst, and see if this sequel does something right. Cutting in here real quick to remind you of all the awesome content we have on the channel. Between Monday and Friday, we have a plethora of awesome series reactions, with 2 on Wednesday. We also have movie reactions every Saturday and Sunday. I pre-record them during the week, but upload them on the weekend. And don't forget about all the awesome gaming content over on the Princess of Gaming channel. We have Baldur's Gate 3 every single day, Horizon Forbidden West every Monday and Friday. Tuesdays and Thursdays are Life is Strange Double Exposure. Wednesdays and Sundays are Beyond Two Souls. And Saturdays is Nier Automata. And don't forget to click the link in the description to follow it to today's reaction. I redirect everything just due to copyright. Also, please subscribe to the channel and like this video if you want to see more awesome content such as this. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's begin today's reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, I mean, who are we kidding? This was shit. I mean, maybe it was the tiniest bit better than the first movie, only because it felt less mean-spirited and it didn't, like, sabotage its own message at every point. But it's, like, it's the smallest bit better. It's like it's not a compliment saying that. It's like a polished pile of shit is still a pile of shit. A lot of the issues were the same as the first movie, outside of, again, the message not being as big of an issue with this one. But it's like the lack of actual comedy, relying on the lowest forms of humor, like puking and shit and whatnot, farting. It's like, this isn't funny. No one can act in these movies. And even actors who are otherwise fairly good, like Gilbert Gottfried or the guy who is in Back to the Future, even they were just not good in these roles. It's a case of bad writing, bad dialogue, bad direction. It's so bad. And it's like, it got like one laugh from me. I will give it that. But most of this was just a waste of time. And it's like, Gilbert Gottfried, it's like, why did you bring him back? He had practically no role in this. The movie was also extremely overstuffed with stuff. It's like, you try to have Gilbert Gottfried in this. You try to have all of these different female suitors. You try to have the nurse that he's actually in love with. You have Dumore, who he tries to get with because of her money and influence, and, you know, because she flaunts her ass everywhere. Like, my God, lady, chill the fuck out. It's so overstuffed with shit. You have this little girl as well, and mind you, that connects to the nurse, but still, it's like there's so much that they're trying to do in this film, and nothing gets the proper attention it needs. As such, every single plot point is not just excessively rushed, but makes no sense. There's no reason for him and the nurse to have fallen in love with each other. They have not known each other long enough. There's no reason for him and Luanda to have almost gotten married within like a few days of knowing each other's existence. They had to push it so far and rush it so much that it was an active disservice to everything they were even trying to do. And on top of that, a lot of the problems, the troubles that this kid, that Junior, and even the girl caused felt very minuscule compared to the first film. It felt like it was a lot more restrained, which I guess kind of makes sense considering it's like, he's found a better home and everything. He's found a better living situation. Things are, he is a little more restrained. But it's like, it also, it's like, it makes it so that it's not as impactful or interesting, even from that point of view. This is a sequel that also just didn't need to exist. We didn't need to see how this turned out with them after the events of the first film. There was no reason to make this sequel. And they didn't do anything worthwhile. It's like the idea of like finding a new wife, a new mom for Junior and everything is something that was completely needless. And it felt like it felt forced. It felt like forced filler for the sake of just doing it. And it's just so not funny. And it's like the antithesis of funny. It's not just not funny, it's like anti-funny. So much of this movie is like, this is stuff I didn't find funny as a kid. And it's like, how is this going to even appeal to children? Because here's the thing. Pretty much every bit of humor in this is so fucking immature that it's more immature than like any child. But on top of that, they also throw in some adult shit just randomly here and there. Like, again, Luanda sticking her ass out so prominently towards him. It's like, yeah, you could see the shape of her crack. She was flaunting that so heavily. And it's just like, why? Like, is that thrown in just to appeal to the parents who are watching this with their kids? Because it's like, that's not that what? I've seen movies and shows and stuff that are geared towards children put in stuff for the adults, usually through references to more mature films and stuff, or some sneaky, more mature humor and dialogue. Even sometimes having some really mature themes and whatnot. But it's like, this is just like, let's just throw in a woman sticking her ass in the camera. It's like, what is that? It's like, it's pure fan service. And it's not even well done. This kind of movie just befuddles me. Because it's like, who is this for? Because like I said, it's too immature for even kids to enjoy. It doesn't even handle trying to do some more mature little in-jokes and stuff for adults. Who is this for? Who is this meant to appeal to? Like, I know this was made in like 91. And I understand that like humor and stuff geared towards kids especially has changed over the years. there was a time where a lot of child humor was geared towards, fart jokes and shit. So literally shit. And it's like the problem is most people I know and knew back then when I was that age were not into that kind of shit. I've known throughout my life almost no one who has ever actually genuinely enjoyed that kind of humor. Because it's not funny. There's nothing funny about it. There's no joke. There's no punchline. There's no anything. There's nothing about it is comedic. Like, I don't understand. And okay, I'm going to torture myself and I'm going to look this up right now. Because I need to see, like, did anybody actually like this? I'm really afraid of what the answer is going to be. Also, this was rated PG-13, while the first one was rated PG. Why? Because the lady stuck her ass in the camera? The first movie was actually a lot darker and, more intense with the killer and everything, the serial killer. It's like, I feel like the first one should have been PG-13 instead of this one. Reception. Okay, apparently it didn't fare as much or as well as the first one. And it has a 7% on Rotten Tomatoes. That doesn't surprise me. Average rating of 3.3. The site's consensus reads crude, rude, puerile, and pointless. Yeah. Problem Child 2 represents a cynical nadir in family-marketed entertainment. And somehow audiences surveyed on CinemaScore gave it a B+. Like, what the fuck? And mind you, going back to the first one, just as a reminder, the first one is actually a rare film on Rotten Tomatoes that has a 0%, with an average rating of 2.3 out of 10. And remember, the first one, the critical consensus read, mean-spirited and hopelessly short on comic invention. Problem Child is a particularly unpleasant comedy, one that's loaded with manic scenery, chewing, and juvenile pranks. And yeah, it's like this one is, like I said, it's maybe the tiniest bit better, just because it's not as mean-spirited, just because it's not as, it doesn't, like, contradict its message at every turn, and all the stuff I mentioned. But it's like going from a 0 to a 0.1. It's like that's how minuscule of an upgrade it is. It really doesn't mean much, And I can't even say I'm disappointed because I went into this kind of expecting it to be like this. I was hoping it would be better, and I was hoping it would be, like I said in the pre-thoughts, one of those sequels that was like a sequel in name only, and that actually focused on, like, a different kid, a different parent, etc., etc. I think that could have been so much better. Hell, basically the idea of, like, reboot this. Reboot this for the modern day, and actually give a shit when writing it. Actually give a shit about the comedy. You could actually make a really good film with this premise. With the premise of this problem child. And yeah, you could make it over the top and zany and, have this child doing crazy shit. But you could do it well if you actually, gave effort. And it's like, I don't like to just, like, say stuff like that because it's like, the people who made this put forth effort. They did. They tried. I don't like to say things like, oh, they didn't actually try. They like, must have sat there twiddling their thumbs and everything and not actually gave a damn. I don't like to say that stuff because it's like it sounds mean and everything. But it's like there's a certain point where a movie is just so bad. It's like how does how does a movie that did so poorly in the first place even get a sequel? Unless it was like already like planned and pretty much written and handled and everything beforehand, paid for and all. That's the only thing I can think of. I mean, that's the only reason why like the Velma series got a season 2, right? Because it had a 2 season order from the start and they had to fulfill that contract. Because with how exceptionally bad that first season was viewed, there's no way that it would have gotten picked up for a second season. It had to have had that second season already, ordered and paid for and probably mostly produced at that point. It might be the same thing with this. But like I said, it sucks to say things like this, to say that the people just didn't put in any effort, but I'm sorry, it's that bad. I'm not saying it just to insult the people who made this. I'm genuinely saying that because I believe this. I believe it is that poorly made. Like, nothing about it is good. The acting is so atrocious. The writing, the dialogue, the direction, the cinematography, everything is bad. Even the effects on things, like when they're having the food fight, it's like the pizza, the cheese that was supposed to be sticking to them, and it like had that sticky, like texture and everything. It looks like cum. I'm just gonna say it looked like semen. The way it was so clear and sticky and had almost like a white tinge to it. It looked like fucking semen. When they were pulling it off of their face and everything and stuff like that. It's like, that looks so unintentionally dirty. And it's like, oh my god, even the effects in this don't look good. I'm just, I'm flabbergasted by how bad this was. I really, really hoped that this would be better than the first. I'm not necessarily surprised that it wasn't. I'm just disappointed. If you can find joy in this, if you can enjoy these films, even if just for nostalgia's sake, because maybe you grew up watching this, good for you. Good for you. I am genuinely glad you can find enjoyment in this. I always say that even if it's a movie I absolutely hate, if someone likes it, awesome. I am not going to yuck their yum. I'll share my own opinion. I will absolutely, unapologetically share my own opinion. But I'm not going to tell someone they're wrong for liking it. If someone likes it, that's fine. But I don't have to understand why. I don't have to agree with you. I don't even have to see your point of view. I just have to respect that we have a difference of opinion. But I'm not going, like I said, I'm not going to hide what I think of this movie. I'm going to unapologetically share my opinion. And I think this is that fucking bad. Both of these movies. I think they are, both Problem Child movies here, I think are just absolute trash. Absolute dog shit. And I mean, at least I've watched them so I don't have to see them ever again, you know? That's one plus side to this. I never have to see them again. So, Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. Sometimes it might be fun to watch someone react to something that's just bad. Hell, if you had fun watching me be absolutely flabbergasted in the reaction, I'm happy for that at least. But like I said, let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Connie. I'm signing off. I need more whiskey. See y'all next time.